We're going to replace the left switch on the steering wheel to this one here, which has the directional controls for the gauge swap that's going to be done. Just get yourself one of these trim panel tools. I think this one's actually from Harbor Freight. Stick it in the top, pry it forward just a little bit. Next, stick it inside. You can see it just pop right out. Then you got to pull this switch kind of down and twist at the same time. Be a lot easier if the airbag wasn't popped. And then right there you can see the connector. That little pin, let's look at it right here. You got to push it in. And push down at the same time, which is not easy to do with one hand. Give me 1 second. So once it's out, set that one aside. Grab the replacement. Plug it in. Should hear it snap a little bit. And then you're just going to push the wire back up in the right channel. Pop the new one in. And there you go. As you can see, the horn works. You actually don't have a whole lot of wire to be able to pull up on. And now we'll switch airbag. So give me a second, we get the right tools. Okay, I'm going to replace the airbag now. To do that, you have to get access to the 2 screws on either side. Just a flathead screwdriver. Pry these out. It's an 8mm to get these 2 screws out. Once you have the screws out, careful, grab the airbag. Make sure your battery has been disconnected. You're going to flip this guy over. You're going to see 2 connectors here. Okay. Oops, there you go. Get out your thin blade screwdriver again. You're going to see 2 locks on either side. You're going to have to pry those to get the guy free. So, turn this guy so I can actually get a better view here. There we go. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Set the bad airbag aside. Grab your good airbag. Now, make sure, nothing on your old airbag on the back side. Some of the vehicles out there have little clips that you have to replace off the back of the old one onto the new one. Put the new one up. What you got to do is plug, oops. All you have to do to plug in the new one is just hold the airbag up there, which is fairly hard to do one-handed. So give me 1 second here. So after you got the new airbag plugged back in, it will only go in one way if you want the logo to be the right direction. Again, this is why you want to make sure that your battery's been disconnected. Then you're going to put the 2 screws back in. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so now the airbag is in. I'll leave that on to protect it. bug some people. And now reconnect the battery. Going to take off this bezel. I've actually already loosened it up. You can actually use the same tool as we did for the switch, or you can get a slightly stiffer one. And essentially there is clips on both sides that hold it on. You will have to have your steering wheel all the way down, and then once you get those free, it just comes out. Relatively simple. And you can see those clips I'm talking about. You got two here, the clip on the side that catches on here, there's another one there, and then on towards the center there's two more clips. And then to get the gauge out, there's only two screws on the top. So give me a second, let me get those out of here. Okay, so once you get those screws out, they actually is held in the bottom with some little clips. You just gotta grab hold of both lenses. Try to put your hand in the spot so that when it comes forward, you don't smash your fingers anywhere. Again, have your steering wheel all the way down. Try to find a place to get a hold of it. Basically just flip it enough to where you can get to this connector. The clip, there it is. The clip is actually releases on the back side here. So once you get it unclipped, just kind of wiggle it up and pull it free. The nice thing about the newer clusters versus the previous Mustangs, well, pretty much any Ford for that fact, is there's no cable to move the dial indicator for what gear you're in. Obviously for manual, and a lot of the automatics don't even have that anymore. Okay, this is the cluster that is going in. Now this is just a temporary to make sure everything works on it, because I will have to send it out to get the mileage reprogrammed to match my previous cluster. So all we're going to do is set this one in there. Reach in and grab the plug. Plug it in. Just did a gauge test. I don't know if you can see those needles moving. Shut the door, so there you go. Oops. Turn my light off. As you can see, the mileage works. Now, it's not going to let me start the vehicle because of the theft system, but it at least will power up the gauge. Matter of fact, you can see the theft system is flashing like crazy there. You can see the OK button works. I can go through, select temperatures. Right now I've got the vehicle hooked up to a charger. So as you can see, it's connecting with the vehicle, no problem. There's 3 admin keys in there. Part of what I have to do is erase all the keys stored in there and then reprogram new keys. You essentially got 2 ways you can do this. First way would be to do the gauge swap in the dealership lot, because once you put this gauge in there, you won't be able to start it. They will have to come out and reprogram the keys. Or if you have the connector, see a little green light down there, and you have the 4Scan software on a laptop, you can actually program the keys yourself. Or if you have a buddy that already has it and you have 2 keys, he can program it for you. So, I actually have 1 key that came with the vehicle. I had ordered 2 keys. Unfortunately, the place I had cut the keys, one of them they totally screwed up. So, and the other key surprisingly works, even though it doesn't look like it's lined up on both sides, but it does turn in the column and in the doors. I went ahead and ordered 2 more keys. Hopefully I'll have them here by this weekend. I will take those keys apart a certain way so that they will hold in the fixture and not have it slip in the clamp again. So I'll wait till I get those 2 keys, and I will program this gauge to the keys along with my old gauge before I send this one off to get the mileage changed. I will put the link in the description of the place that will do mileage changes. You have to ship it off to them, obviously. You pay the shipping. The cost is roughly $90, but that includes shipping back to you. Turnaround is normally a day or two from the time that they receive it. You do have to sign some forms for them, basically having to do with the mileage you're telling them is legitimate mileage for the car. There's nothing that says you cannot change out your gauge cluster. There's nothing that says you can change the gauge cluster to your current mileage if you buy a cluster that has literally almost 100,000 miles more than my original. The only thing that's against the law, of course, is to record a mileage that is less than your actual mileage of the vehicle. So once we get that done, everything will be good. Let me go through and check a couple more things here. Ooh, my color. Turn lights on. I'm one for the red. My 18 has this my color system in it too, and I just prefer the red. Honestly, I don't know if the ambient light will work, seeing as this vehicle didn't originally have it. I mean, there's no lights on the floor whatsoever, so I may just turn something on that was useless for this vehicle. Yeah, this does have auto lamps. I had to stop and think for a second. So, as you can see, it's got all the different features. I'm going to reset that one just because I want to get rid of that warning. Now, steering feel. I honestly don't know if this is going to work. This vehicle did not originally have that feature. It does have the electronic steering, but do I need to do some reprogramming to the ECM for it to work? The other issue is, since this is going to get the F-150 EcoBoost motor put in here, and I may have to run the F-150 ECM if I do not do the Ford aftermarket ECM that's designed for the engine and for a manual transmission, is whether or not you can do the steering feel or sensitivity adjustment on the rack with an F-150 ECM. So that's part of what we're going to find out eventually down the road. But yeah, I'm just happy to see that all this is working. The vehicle this came out of got 26.6 miles to the gallon.